Hi, this is Bob Seitz and full of years. Today I'm out at a local mulch pile. Out here in the Midwest, they just dot the landscape. This one happens to be very close to where I live. It's a mulch pile that, like all mulch piles, has a lot of vegetation and dirt and stuff in it. And it's also kind of an illustration of one of the miracles of life and a theological principle. So I'd like to share those with you. First of all, let's make sure I get the hole deep enough. A mulch pile starts with a presumption that things are going to happen naturally without too much effort on the part of the mulch pile owner. And so in this hole that you've seen here, I will now place garbage. Garbage. Good stuff. And over the garbage, I will now place dirt. And in placing the dirt over the garbage, along with some cleverly cut and disguised pieces of vegetation, I am starting a process of turning garbage into dirt. Now, those of you who don't like garbage or dirt, you can check out now, because what we're doing here is just a kind of a normal thing for those of us who live close to mulch piles. But here's the thing about a mulch pile. I'm done. I just finished getting ready for a miracle. And the miracle is that without my prayer, this dirt and this garbage will decompose. Sorry for the shaking. This garbage and this dirt will decompose into a soil that I can use elsewhere. Now think about it. The garbage was something I would have thrown away in other years. Understand, no meat scraps, it's just organic stuff. And the hole is something that I did, sure. But basically, from here on, I do nothing. And without my prayer, as the saying goes, garbage will be turned into dirt. You see the lesson coming. You know, one of the things that you and I know about being old is that a lot of things happen without our prayer. Martin Luther knew that. When he wrote his small catechism, he said in the meaning to a couple of petitions, this and that happens indeed without our prayer. God's will comes indeed without our prayer. The kingdom comes. God's will is done indeed without our prayer. He could have said that about all of the petitions, I suppose. But what he meant by that is to say that our prayers really are not the cause of what God does. God's own nature, God's love, God's grace, God's willingness to forgive, those things happen indeed without our prayer. And what they are, and you darn well know this because you're older, those things that happen indeed without our prayer are many times miracles. Maybe as elemental as garbage turning into dirt, useful stuff coming out of useless stuff. Maybe you've had those things happen in life, and if you're like me, there's many more of them than I'm willing to admit. But the beautiful thing about things happening because of God's grace and God's power, indeed without a prayer, is that we don't have to think, at our age, that we cause anything to happen. We've been blessed so many times by unexpected favors. We've seen things given and granted to us that we didn't deserve. We've gloried in surprise of gifts, not only at our birthdays, but at other times in our life. And when things happen without our prayer, we learn both humility and we learn gratitude. And once we've learned both of those, we learn generosity. Because if it happens without our prayer, if we don't cause things to happen when we're younger, when we're old, all of life is a gift. Isn't that wonderful? So today, as your full of years life continues, I want you to consider all the things that happen without your prayer, indeed, and all the things that you cause to happen by God's grace for others who don't have to pray for your kindness, your grace, your forgiveness, for your gifts. Something to think about out here by the mulch pile.